All right, we are live. Post-game party for the next round. Alabama closing out a 40-17 win over Mississippi State. It was a game for a minute. Auburn, boy, they were close. Georgia pulls away at the end on the strength of Brock Bowers to win. LSU loses at Ole Miss in a wild game. Texas A&M wins against Arkansas in the neutral site game. We got a lot to get to on the post-game party. Jim Dunaway, what is up? How are you?
Doing great, man. I feel like we should lead with Auburn, even though Alabama just ended. It's almost like an Auburn lead situation because they played so well today. But I understand most recent game, however you want to do it. It just was a fun day. I enjoyed the Holiday Bowl in Oxford. I missed when it was played in San Diego. Georgia looked like it could have some problems. The West lead will be played for next week in College Station with Alabama, Texas A&M. Everything is crazy right now. A lot of parity.
Yeah, there's a lot of parity. I mean, Alabama, we'll start with them since I know the Alabama fans are still up just clicking over to us. The Alabama game was kind of tight early. Alabama didn't have a great first quarter. In fact, Dunaway didn't attempt a pass in the first quarter. Did not attempt a pass in the first quarter. Let me say that again for emphasis. I don't know. I would like to know the last quarter when a game was actually in doubt that Alabama didn't actually attempt to pass. Now, there were passes called, obviously, but Milroe turned those into runs. Guys weren't open. It was a sack, whatever the case might be. But they did not attempt one in the first quarter. And the last two quarterbacks that had played Mississippi State had torched them. And Jaden Daniels at LSU and Spencer Rattler at Mississippi or for South Carolina. But for whatever reason, Alabama couldn't find open guys in the first quarter, and it was starting to look a little shaky there for the Tide.
Yeah, I told you guys on the show throughout the week that I did not want, just because Mississippi State was vulnerable in the secondary, I didn't want Alabama to do something that they weren't going to do the rest of the year. So I wanted them to play the way they were going to have to play against LSU, against Tennessee, against Auburn, against Georgia, anybody else that's going to be a challenge down the road. I didn't want them to, get a false sense of security on, not continuing to develop their identity. So I'm sort of happy the way this game turned out. Is it entertaining as it has been in the past? No. 40-17 final score. A win is a win in a dominating fashion. But, I thought Jalen Milroe did a lot of good things today. And most importantly, I look here on the stat sheet, and under the interception category, what do I see?
A zero.
That lovely goose egg, that
right.
Zero, that clean sheet. 10 of 12 passing for 164 yards. He's not Caleb Williams. He's not Shedeur Sanders. He's not, at this point in his career, maybe one day, but at this point in his career, he is not a drop back passing quarterback. So let's do what he can do. And that's what Alabama did tonight in Starkville. And it was sloppy to start with. And it was good to see Nick Saban chewing ass again.
Yeah, Kyle says Mad Saban is back. That looked like old school Nick Saban. He was pissed about some things. He was laying into guys. And the broadcast, I think they were right. They kept talking about how it seemed to impact his team, Dunaway, when he kind of jumped some tail in the first quarter there. It seemed like Alabama responded to that second quarter.
Well, he referenced that. And in the – I can't remember if it was the coming out of the locker room or the third quarter or the second quarter. They interview coaches out of sequence now. It's not always just going in or out of the locker room. So I can't remember exactly when it was, but he was like, well, you saw me chewing on them a little bit over there. That's probably what changed their mindset a little bit. So I don't know if this was a preordained thing that Nick Saban wanted to do this week in this game. But I know it made a lot of Alabama fans happy to see him over there chewing some butt.
Yeah, I think Alabama fans have wanted to see that, and they got to see it. Alabama Dunaway, 193 on the ground, 164 through the air, 10 of 13. It was efficient, not explosive, but efficient. They really didn't hit the deep ball. They tried it. Nyblack had that one where he actually got both feet down. Rod Gilmore seemed to think he had control. I never thought he did.
No.
I don't think he had control out of the back of the end zone, but that was really, unless I'm forgetting one, the deepest ball they threw.
Yeah. But keep in mind, Nyblack had a 23-yard reception. Benson had a 27-yard reception. Dupree had a 26-yard reception. McClellan had a 19-yard reception. Bond had a 17-yard reception. So you had 5 different guys who had a reception of 17 yards or longer. So, I mean, it's not like they're all throwing it behind the line of scrimmage and catch and run. Some of those are, but not all of them. So, you know, the passing game is what it is, and we'll see when they get challenged by a team that can man up with them at the bar, belly up at the bar with them, and play good defensive football, what they can do throwing the football. But in this game, they didn't have to do that. I would imagine in College Station next week, they'll have to loosen up that run defense a little bit by throwing the football downfield some.
All right, Lance Taylor is with us now. Lance was down at Auburn for Auburn, Georgia, just back in Birmingham.
I thought I just got a text. I thought I just got a text that said you weren't going to join us.
No, I asked you guys if you wanted me to.
Yeah,
I didn't answer.
Of course, yes, of course.
I was on the sun side of the game today. So, first of all, I was on a boat ride at 4 a.m. last night. And then I got up and went to Auburn this morning. And I was at a tailgate at 11, go to the game in the sun the entire game. I did not leave.
Wow.
Yeah, I stayed for the entirety of the game. It was a great game. And then, just got back. So it's been a long day. Long day.
Yeah.
I would imagine. So if I asked you more drinks today or Jackson Dart, Jaden Daniels completions today, which is closer?
Well, what Jackson and Jaden completed, can I guess? It's got to be a low number for you to say that. 42.
Oh no.
Have you not seen the score?
Yeah, Lance did not see that game. Obviously, let me.
No, it was a track meet, but I was because you said that.
Yeah.
No,
Daniels completed 27, and Dart completed 26. So that was.
I didn't top either one of those. But I will tell you, the tailgate, our buddy Jim Carson and Courtney, they throw an incredible tailgate. And I haven't been to Auburn in a while. That atmosphere was incredible until I got in the stadium. And the stadium was a little lacking today. And I saw our friend Charles Barkley after the game, hung out a little bit. And he said the same thing. There wasn't that electricity you typically get in Jordan here. It was really weird.
That's odd, Dunaway, because you were, I'm not with me, but like me, you were watching it on TV. It felt pretty good on TV. I thought the atmosphere. And Kirby Smart even commented about it in the post-game interview.
He did. Kirby referenced it in the, I think it was the third quarter interview. He even brought it up during the game. You know, this is a great atmosphere. And after the game, he said, you know, congratulations to the Auburn people. They create a great atmosphere here. But I know what you mean, LT. I've been there for Iron Bowls and, you know, other number one games like Brown, you know, 2000, I think it was 2001. You and I were there, Auburn, Florida. And we've seen that place rock before. But it's always a great atmosphere. And, you know, I saw our own EG reference it in her post-game story, the amazing atmosphere that it was. Yep, there she is. Hey, EG.
Look at EG.
Yeah.
Hey.
What's up? Well, how did you lose your voice? I noticed in the post-game report you lost your voice.
I wish I could tell y'all. I have no idea. I know.
Wow.
I don't smoke. This is not a commercial for that. I just have no voice.
Yeah, you sound rough, EG. You sound rough. Was it? Let me tell you, because these two will tell you, EG, that there are times I have been the DD. I've been the non-drinker.
Yep.
And you're in the bar like Sky Bar, like you said you were Friday night. You're yelling over the crowd. You're yelling over the crowd. You don't realize how much you're pushing your voice. I think that's what happened.
No, Mikey was not in Sky Bar last night. But I would agree. I think that I was hurting my cats and I was talking over the entire crowd. I did text Dunaway for some advice. I said I sort of sound like a man.
Yeah.
Hey, did you hear Reese, Dunaway Reese on the Notre Dame game? Notre Dame Duke was losing his voice a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. Speaking engagements and stuff, you strain to have a conversation, and that ends up happening. So Mikey's there?
Yeah, he's right here. Y'all want to see
Let's
him?
meet Mikey for the first time.
Yeah, that's right. What's up, Mikey?
Hey, Mikey, how are you, man? Welcome to the family, Mikey. How are you?
I appreciate it. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Hey,
we're dying listener, first time caller, right?
we're dying to know what's your golf handicap.
What my golf handicap is?
Yep.
Right now it's like a +1.5, close to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so you play a lot.
Yeah.
I do.
+1.5. Is there a chance you're going to try to be on, like play your way into a U.S. Open, play on the tour?
I hope so in the future. I really do.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
All right.
All right. Did you guys enjoy the game? Fun game.
Yeah.
It was an awesome game. Oh yeah, loved it.
Yeah.
Except for losing.
Yeah, losing was tough. It's hard to drain out those Georgia fans up there. I was up on the top deck with all of them, so I'm a little tired just because of them. But it is.
I like Mikey in the row back. TNR 20 at checkout.
You know it.
That's right. Support the sponsors. Good job.
Absolutely.
Good job, Mikey. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
All right, I'm gonna give you all back to Lance.
Okay.
Please, I was enjoying our conversation with Mikey. Mikey was doing great.
Rest that voice.
Good thing you didn't.
Lance, the Auburn passing game, not great. Auburn basically ran a service academy offense today. And that's the crazy thing. It actually worked. I will say, coming out of that game, you guys know I've not had Georgia #1 in my unofficial poll all year, and I stand by that coming out of that game. I'm not trying to take anything away from Auburn. This Georgia team, they're missing something, and I can't figure out what it is, but they're missing something.
Yeah, I agree. And I talked to Georgia fans. They were at our tailgate before, and they said the same thing. They're just a little off, a little different feel. Got to give them credit. Tough environment. They find a way to win the game. To me, I think a big mistake was going for it on 4th down right before the half. I think you've got to take points. I said it to everybody around me. Like, if you're going to win that game, it's going to be on the defense. And I think if you take points, you would be up 10 in the 4th quarter with Carson Beck really pressing.
Oh, you're talking about Auburn taking points?
Yeah, I think Auburn should have taken the field goal.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Yeah.
And it hurt Dunaway. It didn't help any. The play wasn't even really close.
No. See, that's to me, and we've gotten away from that because Lane got himself into a jam today by not taking 3 points, and that would have been a very different situation. They end up winning the game, but I take 3 anytime I can get 3 points. Give me 3 points unless I'm trailing behind and I got to play catch up. But for Georgia, those turnovers that Auburn turned into touchdowns. I mean, turnover, touchdown, turnover, touchdown. I mean, that's 2 turnovers, 14 points in a game that was that close. That's the difference between Georgia winning it easily or not winning it comfortably.
Yeah, it was a perfect blueprint for Auburn because they were able to force the turnovers, get short fields, convert, get scores. They were able to effectively run the football. But in the second half, Brock Bowers is just so freaking good. I mean, there's not an answer for that guy. And I think he's going to be even better once he gets to the NFL next year.
Yeah.
But man, that was an awesome game. I tell Auburn fans, I think there's a lot of optimism coming out of that game because they're getting better as we watch. I don't think they have a lot of talent. I think Hugh Freeze has got kind of a depleted roster. Dude can coach, and everything stays together the next 2-3 years. They're going to be really good, and they're going to be in a college football playoff in the next 2 or 3 years.
I sent that out on Twitter earlier. I was like, Deion Sanders is the one that is talking, get me now. You can tell what we're going to be in the future by what we're doing now. Hugh Freeze doesn't say it like that. He's not as, as outspoken as Deion is, but he's got exactly the same thing he can sell at Auburn. This team, this is as bad a roster as Hugh Freeze is going to have at Auburn. His roster is going to be better every year from this point forward. And they just played the #1 team in the country who's won 22 straight games, and they haven't lost by the next time they kick it off in 672 days. And they played them against the wall with the worst roster he's going to have. They're going to be a menace.
And I don't know how you guys feel about this. Poor Jim and Courtney. I did a USC takeover in their tent. They had one TV, and we put the USC Colorado game on. But I was talking to an Auburn fan, and I was like, "How good would you guys be with Caleb Williams?" And he's like, "I think we'd win the SEC." And the way the SEC now is, I don't think you can necessarily say that's like a bold statement. I mean, I think that's kind of legitimate.
Well, I mean, I look at it this way: Alabama, Texas A&M next week. All of a sudden, it's for the clear lead in the West with the LSU loss. I mean, you're the clear leader in the West. And after watching today, I know you didn't get to see a lot of it, Lance, but Dunaway, after watching today, is it a foregone conclusion to you that Georgia beats Kentucky?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, that's my point. Yeah, it is. I think it is open on both sides right
Yeah. Now, listen, I
Yeah,
mean,
I wish
Georgia.
that game was in Lexington.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, Georgia, you're right, but even Lexington's not Jordan-Hare Stadium. Georgia, probably the worst thing that could happen to Kentucky is that Georgia got tested like this today, and they'll get a chance to maybe have a little bit of a wake-up call. But Kentucky does things that, I mean, they it's no fluke there. There's no fluke offense there. They just line it up and they play, smash mouth tough football. And what Ray Davis was able to do today, I mean, 280 yards rushing, it looks a little skewed because he had that 175-yard one. But you take that one away, Brown, he's still 205 on the ground against the SEC team. They made Florida look silly today.
And Lance, we can't completely eliminate Tennessee. Tennessee handled South Carolina pretty easily today in Knoxville, something Georgia had trouble doing in Athens. I'm not big on comparing opponents. I'm just saying, I don't think you can eliminate Tennessee either.
I mean, I don't. I mean, look, USC again. The defense struggled today. I'm watching Washington right now. We've got Arizona, Lance'sLock.com. So 2 big plays left. We've got the under in Fresno State. That looks good, at least right now. We've got Arizona who's covering right now. But Washington's not out of the woods. USC really struggled in the second half defensively. I don't know who's good. I really don't.
You talked about the size of my balls about taking Virginia, but that was a nice 3-point loss, getting 3.5. So hats off to the Wahoos getting a W today.
Oh, the Duke, by the way, I got jammed in the ass on the Duke game. 4th and 16.
I know.
Yeah, and
then they're playing. They're playing for. I don't know what you gave it out at. I saw it on mybookie.ag.
5.5. Yeah,
and they're playing for the field goal. I mean, they are 100% are playing for the field goal there, and Estime breaks away for the touchdown.
It was crazy, but how Sam Hartman got 17 on a 4th and 16, how you give that up on the ground is just it's beyond me because they had played such good football up until that point. It's a heartbreaking loss for Duke, but if we would have gotten Duke, it would have been an incredible day. It's still going to be a good day because I got a feeling we're going to get both of these. I think we're going to get Washington in the under here. So it's still going to be a productive day. We got 3 plays up already tomorrow, NFL, Lance'sLock.com. Jump on board. We had our big one today. Tennessee was our 5-unit play. Had a big 3-unit on Texas. That was another winner. We had 3 units on Duke. That hurt. But anyway, we're going to win.
One thing about Tennessee, Dunaway, that Brew McCoy injury is going to hurt them. I don't know if they've said he's done for the year, but they had to cart him off, and that was painful to watch. I don't know if you were watching it when it happened, Dunaway. That was painful to watch.
I was, and it was painful to watch, and it does look like it's season ending. But they have a more depth at receiver than I think we give them credit for. Mm-hmm. I was impressed with a couple of their guys who came out, and Milton made some good throws and a couple of running backs. But the thing that got me about Tennessee was their defense. I mean, Spencer Rattler has been really, really good this year, and he got sacked 6 times. Yeah. And we knew that was a problem coming in, but they were about as disruptive as I've seen him being disrupted all season long. So I was really impressed with Tennessee's pass rush and what they were able to do with Mays back right there at center today as well on the offensive line. So the Tennessee guys in the trenches impressed the heck out of me.
JT says Riley Leonard did get hurt on crutches after the game. Someone was asking that earlier. Yeah. It was the final play offensively for Duke. He fumbled when he got hit, but he got rolled up really, really bad. So that could be very unfortunate for Duke. Riley Leonard didn't have his best game. They were in position to win the game. They give up a 98-yard drive to fall behind, and then Leonard gets hurt on a fumble play. So that could be really, really bad news for Duke.
Yeah, I mean, that was the last play. He was trying to make a play and got rolled up on. And his ankle went away. It's not supposed to go. So that would be bad for Duke. And I thought they were going to win that football game tonight. They'd rally back from 13 down in what was a good atmosphere. So really impressed with Notre Dame's defensive line. Really impressed with what Alabama was able to do after being sloppy, even in a loss. Impressed with Auburn. Impressed by Missouri today, what they were able to do with Brady Cook, who set a career high 395 passing yards at Vandy. That was impressive today. And, Lane Kiffin said it best, and I guess this will go down as a signature win for Lane. But for Ole Miss, they were down 2 scores in the fourth quarter. And with what happened to them last year in Tuscaloosa and just their lot in life against ranked teams, nobody would have been shocked if they'd have just folded up the tents, turned the ball over, and got beat by 9 in that contest. But they came back and won that game today, 55-49. And I guess to date, Brownie, that's going to be Lane Kiffin's best win at Ole Miss.
I think it's got to be. I mean, we talked about last week after the loss to Alabama. I don't remember the exact
I think
number,
it was 1 in 20.
1 in 19 or 1 in 20 against teams that finished with 9 wins or better. And I don't know if this LSU team will finish with 9 wins or better. I mean, that's part of the problem right now. It looks like they will. But, man, that is a leaky defense they've got there. It bit them against Florida State. It tried to bite them a little bit against Arkansas, and it ate them up today. That is not a good defense.
Well, I'll tell you, Brown, they were in the right position. I mean, Florida had problems against Kentucky being in the run gaps where they had guys running without even being touched for big gains. LSU was missing tackles. They had guys there to make a tackle for a 1 or 2 yard gain or a tackle for a loss, and they just missed tackle after tackle after tackle. That was the worst tackling performance I've ever seen by an LSU team.
Blake asked, will Sam Pittman be on the hot seat after this season? They might end up the worst team in the West. I do think people are starting to maybe grumble a little bit at Arkansas. I know he's well liked there.
But let me tell you,
and their losses aren't done this year.
Yeah, I've watched more games at home this year than I ever have before, which means I'm not fast forwarding through games on Sunday as much like I have in the past. So I skip some things to get to the good stuff when I'm doing the stuff for the show. But the number of teams that continue to line up in the shotgun on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, including Alabama, except for one time tonight,
and Auburn,
is mind-boggling. And for Sam freaking Pittman, who is an offensive line background as a head coach, a guy who just seems like he could bite a nail in half with his teeth, to line up in the shotgun in that situation today, that was the least Sam Pittman thing I'd ever seen in my life. And they just don't look like a Sam Pittman coach team anymore. They don't seem to be doing the same things that I thought Sam Pittman would hang his hat on at Arkansas anymore.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Now, Rocket Sanders has been out a lot this season, so that is part of it. That's their best running back. But I'm with you. They just don't feel like the hard-nosed Sam Pittman team that they once were. And a lot of that showed up today against Texas A&M. And I tell you what, man, you got to give Texas A&M credit. They had to flip over to a new starting quarterback, Max Johnson. He played pretty well for him today.
He did. They got the big kick return from Anias, which helped a lot too. Texas A&M hosts Alabama, and then there goes Arkansas to play Ole Miss, who only has a loss to Alabama. I wouldn't be shocked if Arkansas goes into Ole Miss and beats them. That's
not at all.
That's just the way the league seems to be now. So, I said at the start of the year, I'm going to hold to it. Any win for your team, you should be excited about, no matter what the score is, no matter what the circumstance. Like Georgia fans, I know it's not as easy as you thought it was going to be at Auburn today, but you won it 27-20. You should be just drinking the red wine tonight going, another win, baby, another win.
Kyle asked, who's the defensive coordinator at LSU? Matt House is his name. He's an NFL, or he came from the Chiefs. I don't know his entire background, but he came from the Chiefs, and it is not going well for them right now. I got to say that.
Hey, can I just quickly, before we get too deep into anything else, just hats off to UAB too,
right?
Because I had a chance to see UAB on one of my split screens today, and they battled Tulane to the wall and had a chance to win that game.
Yeah, they did. Have you seen the video of Trent Dilfer chewing out his coaches?
Yeah, it's on my storyline right now. Just chewing out. Was it defensive or special team coaches?
I think it was defensive. It was defensive. It was 12 men. They were trying to substitute and got caught with 12 men on the field. He laid into his assistants. Yeah. I mean, as bad as anything you've ever seen Saban do. I didn't know Trent Dilfer was capable of that. He got after it today. LT is back with us. He dropped off for a second. Lance, we talked a lot about Auburn. Your opinion on Alabama? I know you did not get to see the whole game. You were coming back from Auburn, but I will say this again: this Alabama defense continues to play really, really well. I think Alabama and Auburn may have the two best defenses in the West. Alabama, Auburn, and Georgia may be the three best in the SEC.
Yeah, look, Alabama might end up losing 3 games, but if you told me right now they win the national championship, it wouldn't shock me. Seriously, I think their defense is that good. I think Jalen Milroe is going to get better. That's not the easiest place to play. It's an 8 o'clock. It's a weird time. And they went out, they went through the motions, and they got it done. They're going to be able to run the football effectively. If the offensive line comes together, I think Jalen Milroe is going to be fine. So that is a dangerous team. If you ask me the top 5 teams right now in college football, I might have them right around number 5.
Yeah, Texas looked pretty good today in their win over Kansas. So I think you still got to have them there. I don't know what you do with Florida State.
Oh, I'd still have them there. Florida State would still be there. Yeah, Georgia would still be there.
How you guys feel? Tom Luganbill, Greg McElroy, somebody else thinks Texas best team in college football.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that at all. And Alabama led that team in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think that shows you that Alabama's they're pretty legitimate.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know how I do a top 5. I mean, USC's undefeated, but I think we saw today that defense. Lance, you mentioned that it was on at the tailgate, and I thought this is where you were going with it. But we thought today might be a pretty good test of whether or not they've made some progress in their defense. They just have not. They couldn't get Colorado off the field, and it almost bit them.
Yeah, it did. I mean, defensively, when you got to go through the gauntlet that is the Pac-12, when you got to face offenses like Washington and Oregon, and even Oregon State, there's just no way that team goes undefeated.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they can. Dunaway, that was a game they led by 27, and they just let Colorado right back in it to the point it came down to an onside kick. I mean, I don't think I ever felt like USC was going to lose that game, but how you let it come back to an onside kick when you're up 27?
I left the tailgate. I mean, I felt good enough that, like you guys, like they're not going to cover, but there's no way they lose this game.
Yeah.
And then I kept getting updates, and I'm like, are you kidding? I mean, what the hell is happening? And, yeah, they just – I don't know. They can't close.
Go ahead, Jim.
Did you I mean, it was 34-7, and we've –
Oh, by the way,
I don't know about you guys. There's been times I packed it up before at 34-7,
sure.
and mentally I think they packed it up at 34-7 and then had to re-unpack and get back out there and play hard again.
I personally had their team over 48.5.
Well, that was easy.
No, it went under.
Didn't get there.
48.
I thought you were talking about USC's.
I did. Yeah, I had USC's
What'd they score?
48-41.
48.
Oh, God, guys.
Yeah, missed an extra. Yeah. And I don't think they scored in the fourth quarter, right?
No, they didn't. You know what? Caleb Williams had a turnover, and then they didn't score on that last possession. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough way to lose right there. The chat room is going really fast right now. Lance, do you have a guess? Oh, here it is. Bob says, what's the guess on the Bama Texas A&M line right now? Do you have a guess, early guess on that one?
Is that game College Station?
College Station 230, 3.5 would be my guess, Alabama.
That's about right. Yeah. I would I mean, maybe 4.5. I would list it at 4.5 just because Bama's always inflated, but 4.5's right.
4.5, so really, really tight there, huh?
Yeah, and I personally, damn. I was going to say A&M wins the game, but I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Jimbo Fisher, got to throw that into the equation. But hell, they won there 2 years ago, and Alabama was a much better team.
Yeah. I don't know. That was tough to call, Jim. I mean, what did you think of Max Johnson today? I mean, I think that's a lot of it.
Yeah, he's serviceable. Evan Stewart will be a problem, and that'll, that kid runs routes. I don't know if he's coverable, and I would imagine if you're Bobby Petrino and Jimbo Fisher, you're going to scheme up ways to where he's not being covered by Kool-Aid and McKinstry. You want number 3 covering him. And so I would imagine you get a lot of Evan Stewart and Terrion Arnold. And if Terrion Arnold's having a bad night, you get a lot of pass interference and holding calls that can sort of disrupt the flow of things. We got a fumble. We got a fumble.
You got a fumble.
I believe Arizona got it.
They did.
They did.
For the record, Max Johnson, 17 to 28, 210, 2 touchdowns and an interception.
Hey, so real quick, he had, and like I cannot believe I'm playing again. Like I haven't gambled forever, but I'm back in full force. And one of the things I did was a player prop on Max Johnson's total passing yards. It was like 240. And he had 190 in the first half. And I was like, it's done. And then I saw the final score, and then I checked the box score, and I'm like, how in the hell did he only throw for like 20 yards in the second half?
Yeah. Lunt says FanDuel has Bama minus 7.5. NH3425 says DraftKings has Bama minus 8.5. Tesla Talk has it at 6.5. Let's just take the middle. Let's take Lunt's number. If it's 7.5 Alabama, Lance, what's that tell you?
Yeah, it means Alabama's going to win that game. Again, I think it should be 4.5. I think it should be under a touchdown based on what I've seen from the two teams. Alabama's always inflated, but that's a big number on the road for what I believe is. I mean, A&M is a top 15 team. Alabama is a top 5 to 10 team. I mean, they're pretty equal.
Yeah,
on the road. That's a big number.
Dunaway, you mentioned Evan Stewart. He only had 2 catches today against Arkansas. Nia Smith was their big receiver today.
Yeah, but they were two pretty passes. I'm just saying that kid, when they want to go to him, he looks uncoverable. And Smith returning the kicks and everything. Bama's road trip to Kentucky, if you're looking ahead, that looks a little bit more difficult. Alabama week to week, I mean, it's going to put it in the blender to me. We'll see what comes out because. I can't look at other than the game before Auburn. I can't look at a guaranteed win like Auburn now at the end of the year. Alabama fans back at the beginning of the year was like easy W at Jordan-Hare Stadium. You can't say that now. Yeah, Kentucky, not an easy win. You can't say that now. Tennessee at home, LSU at home, on the road at Texas A&M. Brutal schedule down the stretch. Okay.
You got some fire alarm turned off? You got the smoke alarm off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's off.
Is it?
We're kid-free tonight.
All of a sudden, I feel like I'm on Joe Rogan, Dunaway, the Joe Rogan podcast.
Well, my man, he brought some good shit.
Did he now?
Yeah. At least we know Lance won't go blind.
Hey, this one's out cold, by the way.
Huh?
So this one's out cold.
Yeah, I'd say.
Did the non-family members leave?
Yeah. So, EG, and I waited for EG to leave before we blew that up. Yeah.
Before you choked up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She out.
I think we've covered all the games. I don't know if you guys saw anything else you want to talk about here.
I'm good.
Oregon destroyed Stanford. Oklahoma destroyed Iowa State. That's going to be a fun Red River game next week. I know we got all week talking about it. That's going to be a good game.
It is. I can't wait to watch it, man. I'm going to stay home. Usually I'm at a game for the Red River. I'm going to stay home and watch it. 50-20 over Iowa State for Oklahoma. Dylan Gabriel had like 1,000 points for my DraftKings tonight. Quinn Ewers ran the ball really well today. A couple long touchdown runs, threw for 325. 2 5-0 teams in the Red River shootout. That gets you fired up there, Cheech?
Yeah. So Texas, to me, they've got more talent, no doubt. This is what it comes down to. The thing that has scared me about Texas is Sarkisian as the head coach. He looks like he has matured and is more comfortable in the role. But this is one of those games. It is dangerous. And if you're a Texas fan, if he loses this game when it looks like you have an opportunity not only to get to a college football playoff, to maybe win a national championship, it's a game he doesn't need to lose. Venables will get a pass on this game. Sarkisian won't.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Lance. There's way more pressure on Sarkisian in this one because Texas is primed for the playoff. I don't know if Oklahoma fans quite yet think they're playoff.
No, I think they like, hey, we're building. It's kind of like maybe Auburn, a year in front of Auburn. Like if Auburn plays like this next year, that's kind of what I expect.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you on that. Yeah, I think Auburn can make that kind of jump next year. They're just so bad at quarterback. Auburn just does not have a quarterback right now. And I don't think it's going to improve a ton. Thorne just misses wide open passes. He's not very accurate. He ran the ball great today. Thorne did. Again, they kind of played a Service Academy offense. I give Phillip Montgomery and Hugh Freeze credit, Lance. They knew they couldn't throw it on Georgia, so they just tried to run it, and they were able to.
And I can't believe the Thorne run that went for, I don't know how many yards it was, like 50, 60?
75, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have no idea how that happened. But I will tell you this. If I was in charge of a collective for a Power 5 school, I would pay whatever I have to pay for a quarterback. Like Dylan Gabriel's prime example. Didn't have a great year last year, but the way Dylan Gabriel's playing right now is like we saw at Central Florida a couple of years ago. And I mean, quarterbacks, it's the difference. It just is. And I think they're worth $3, $4, $5 million, depending on how much money you've got in these collectives.
I mean, yeah, a quarterback's worth everything. I don't think there's any doubt a quarterback is worth everything. I mean, I think you're seeing it in Auburn. They got some pieces that can compete. They play LSU next week. Or in their next game. Auburn has a bye next week. Play LSU in their next game. I know it's kind of hard because LSU has another game between them. Do you have any idea of a line on Auburn at LSU, Lance? Someone was asking.
Yeah, LSU will probably be 14.
Yeah, LSU's at Missouri Saturday. That's not a gimme. LSU's got to go to Columbia. I know it's not a tough place to play, but that is far from a gimme for LSU.
Man, I swung and missed on them. Again, a play away. They completely melted down in the second half against Florida State, and I didn't get to see the ending of LSU and Ole Miss, but I did watch it, and so it looked. So when I was checking scores, I mean, LSU was up like double digits, right?
Well, yeah, but nobody was stopping anybody. A double-digit win was like a field goal.
Yeah, it was two. It was 2 scores in the fourth quarter.
So I'm just saying, like, the narrative would be completely different if they would have won on the road at Ole Miss. They're still in the mix to win a national championship. Now they can't even win the SEC. It doesn't look like.
It doesn't look like it. Dunaway.
Well, actually, they do control their own destiny. They still play Alabama and Texas A&M, and their one loss. They have one of them is an out of conference loss.
Yeah. I will say this about LSU at Missouri next week. Brady Cook, and granted, I know it was Vanderbilt in an active construction zone, but Brady Cook in that game was 33 of 41, 395, 4 touchdowns, no picks.
Yep.
Luther Burton, 11 catches of those 33 completions. He had a third of them, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns. And if you saw the way LSU tried to guard Ole Miss's receivers, God only knows what Luther Burton will do to that secondary.
Yeah, that's the problem with LSU's their secondary. Yeah. That's why they're corners. That's why they lost to Florida State. Luther Burton's gone 4 straight games, 100+ yards. And for Brady Cook, he now sets the record in the SEC, passing Andre Woodson for 325 consecutive attempts without an interception.
Well, last year, Jordan Addison, coming from Pittsburgh to USC, they gave him 7 figures. Luther Burton is worth whatever you can give him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll leave because he's from East St. Louis, so he's from Missouri. But he's one of those guys. He's a game changer. If I'm Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, I pay the guy $3 to $5 million. I really do.
Just to be geographically correct, East St. Louis is across the river in Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or is it Missouri?
No, he's East St. Louis, which is across the river in Illinois.
Okay. That's where Chevy Chase got his.
Yep. That's right. Roll them up. Roll them up is what he said.
It's a rough part of town, I hear.
Yeah.
At least back in the 90s.
All right. Alabama wins. Auburn loses. The SEC's crazy today with an LSU loss at Ole Miss. A wild day in the conference. Arkansas loses to Texas A&M. A&M, Alabama next week. Should be a good one.
Another big Bo Nix day, by the way.
Yeah. They were playing at Stanford. Did you see the crowd in that Dunaway? It was on Pac-12 Network, but I saw some photos. Maybe like 10 or 15 people there.
Yeah, I saw the video. I didn't see any crowd. I saw a lot of seats.
Yeah, empty seats. Very sad for Stanford with Oregon in town. Pac-12 looks crazy. USC doesn't have any defense. Oregon scoring a bunch of points. Washington's still good. It's going to be a wild year. Michigan's just kind of that team. They went out. The one team we hadn't really talked about. Michigan went out and whipped Nebraska down away. You'd have them number 1?
That's number 1 for me. I'd go Michigan, Texas, Georgia, Florida State would be my top 4.
I would go Texas, Michigan, Washington.
Still that Washington love. What's the score right now against Arizona?
They're up
against,
14. They're on the road.
Backup quarterback Arizona playing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dunaway, you'd still have Georgia in your top 4?
Yes.
That team does not look like tough.
Yeah. Not going to disrespect
Georgia's
going
to find a loss.
Yeah. Georgia does not look like a top 4 team.
And I'll tell you, they're a Brock Bowers injury away from a disaster.
Oh, God, if Brock Bowers gets hurt. Yeah. Beck's an average quarterback.
He is. I would agree. And they just didn't put enough pressure on him.
No. He's an average quarterback. Georgia is as beatable as they've been in several years now. They're not great running the football. Beck's a fairly average quarterback. They've got an incredible tight end. I don't know what McConkey's situation is. He did not play much today. He made some catches when he did.
Huge catches.
Well, he did, but he didn't play much.
Down catches.
Yeah,
I was in the bathroom line with his family today.
Did you ask him what a unique back injury was? Did you ask him?
Well, I found it. I was talking to a guy that comes to Odie's for trivia every Wednesday night, and he's the one that pointed out, hey, the McConkeys are right there. Is he playing today? And I was like, I don't think he is. And I can't believe what a difference maker he is on that offense. And, I mean, the kick return today was huge. What was that, 40, 45 yards?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. That Georgia team feels like they're missing something. But, I mean, a lot of teams in this country feel like they're missing something. I don't know what my top 4 would look like, to be honest with you.
Doesn't matter. It's going to be a fun year. This is college football is NFL. We're paying them now. It's NFL-like. And I like it. It's fun.
Yeah. All right. We'll be back at it 9 o'clock tomorrow. Lance, you're going to have 3 picks you set up in the NFL, lanceslock.com?
I got 3 plays. Right now they're up. I'm not touching anything else. Your Dolphins and Bills is one of my plays.
Whoa.
And I have figured out the side of that game, and I really, really like it. It's probably my biggest play tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. I'll text you after.
Okay, text me. Do you think you know the winner? You think you figured out the winner? Okay.
Yep.
Eagerly anticipate this text. I hope it's one I like. You have to go to lanceslock.com to find out. Single day, week, monthly, full season packages there at lanceslock.com.
Yeah, we were up 18 units last weekend, which is huge.
Yeah.
If you're a $100 player, that puts you $1,800.
Wow.
If we can hold on right here, we're going to be up like 5 or 6 units, I think, today. If we can hold on, I think we're going to get the Fresno under. Washington, Arizona still kind of out there right now. Duke killed us. I mean, with Duke, we have a massive day.
It was so close, too. They were playing for that field goal, man. You were going to win that one.
Yeah.
I saw earlier tonight that Sherry Shula and a couple of her daughters were at the Tennessee game. And I thought to myself, is Mike Shula working for Tennessee? And I had to check. He's a senior offensive assistant for the Buffalo Bills. And I'm sure you factored that into your pick tomorrow on Miami and Buffalo.
Hey, I met today for the first time was Suzanne Tuberville.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was at our tailgate. She is apparently a regular at my buddy Jim's tailgate. Okay. But yeah, she was really nice.
Yeah. I've been around her once before. I remember her being nice.
Yeah, then her nephew sat with me at the game, Jack.
Okay.
Yeah, he's some kind of construction, concrete, I don't know, something like that. But he was excited. He was I brought a bunch of bourbon into the game.
Yeah.
They don't sell beer at Jordan Hare, which is
I knew that.
Crazy. Yeah. But this will shock you guys. Brought a bunch of bourbon in, and he would go get a cup of ice and just drink the bourbon in that sun.
Yeah. Riley asked if the Brown Bandit covered. We were laying 12.5. We got in under the number right there at 11.
Yep. Saw that.
What was your team again?
I had Louisiana playing at Minnesota, 12.5. Final score was 11.
I lost. I had Vandy. Missouri's a machine.
I lost as well. I had the skinny Gamecocks.
The old skinny Gamecocks. Tennessee flexed their muscle in that one.
Yep.
All right, we'll be back with you 9 o'clock on Monday morning. Everybody enjoy the NFL Saturday. Go to lanceslock.com and mybookie.ag. Code next round at mybookie.ag. Get 110% sign-on bonus. Play those NFL games from lanceslock.com. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday morning on the next